The following program is a paid presentation for American Medicine Today and the Bonati Spine Institute. The information and opinions expressed are solely those of American Medicine Today and are not the opinions of the station, its affiliates, management, or employees.
Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, the world leader in advanced spine surgery, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD.
Hi, I'm your host Kimberly Brummel, and welcome to American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute. Every week, we try to inform you about the Bonati Spine Institute and other medical news, share some of our patients' miraculous recovery stories, and discuss what we feel is the crisis in American medicine today, also known as Obamacare. Today we'll visit Morphogenesis in Tampa, where they are making amazing breakthroughs in the fight against cancer with their pet and animal trials, and discuss when human trials will become available. We'll also hear from Dr. John Grossmith and Kelly Nelson, a Bonati Spine Institute patient, in our Back to Life segment. And we'll hear from Washington Times columnist, Fox News contributor, former member of the President's Council of Bioethics, and New York Times best-selling author, Dr. Ben Carson, about his new book, One Nation: What We Can All Do to Save America's Future. Finally, we'll speak with Dr. Bonatti about these topics and how changes in American medicine today will affect you. And recently, I had the pleasure to visit Morphogenesis in Tampa to speak with Dr. Patricia Lawman, CEO and co-founder, and Joseph Scanlon, Chief Operating Officer, to see the remarkable work they are doing fighting cancer, not only in pets, but very soon in human trials.
This is what we call our hero wall. These are very exceptional animals. Unlike laboratory animals where you would have to induce cancer, these animals have what is called naturally occurring disease. So they're like people in that they have contracted cancers of different types, and they're obviously outbred, many different breeds of animals, even different species of animals, but we call them our heroes because they've given us so much valuable information of how we develop our cancer vaccine for the treatment of more animals but also people. We take our bacterial gene for the marker, the big red flag, and we put it inside the tumor cells. The tumor cells express it on the surface, and then when they're deposited in the skin, the immune cells see that red flag. They can't ignore it. It's like, I am a tumor cell, I'm foreign, take me out. And so what happens in that process is that these immune cells, they actually eat the tumor cells.
Oh, that's
yes,
fantastic.
they do. And then they display all the antigens, all the markers. So where the immune system couldn't see the tumor-specific antigens before, now they can't ignore those. And so we're just educating the immune response to the tumor antigens that are specific to breast cancer in this case. So that's how it works.
And there's no side effect?
It's no side effects because the immune system is smart. It only recognizes what it has been taught to recognize. So it only seeks and destroys the cancer cells. It doesn't touch the normal cells or healthy tissues.
So in other words, you're retraining the body to something that it didn't spot as a foreign object. Now you're teaching it, hey, here's the disease that you have, and boom, all of a sudden the immune system kicks in.
That's right, because when you get a bacterial infection, it's obvious that that's foreign. But cancer cells are they are our own cells, so they have very subtle differences. So sometimes the immune system can see them and take them out, and other times they can't. So we're just educating the immune system to do what it normally is supposed to do.
What type of success rate do you have with the vaccine as it stands right now?
Well, I think it's fair to say that if the animals are in a healthy enough state to live where they can receive the 5th vaccine, which is about 2 months, they stand a very good chance of recovery and what we call stable disease. So when we're talking about cancer treatment, we're not always talking about a cure. I mean, cure is like what everybody wants. In some cases, the vaccine is curative, but what we're trying to maintain is a chronic disease. Instead of a terminal disease, a chronic disease. And so what we have seen in the veterinary field is the quality of life is excellent. And that's the #1 goal of veterinary oncologists, is to provide a longer life, but a better quality of life.
Of course, that's fantastic. Letting people know that there could be a viable option out there for cancer treatment.
Very
now,
soon.
When you talk about the vaccines, I guess a question that comes to mind is, you talk about it's being introduced into the body. Is it a shot? Is it a patch? Does it take a surgery to introduce these things?
Not at all. When it's actually administered, it's introduced into the dermal part of the skin.
Okay.
So as it happens, there are a lot of immune cells in that layer of skin. So our skin is the largest organ in our body, and it is our biggest defense against invading organisms. Most people don't realize that. But as this defense, it has these immune cells right in the skin. So what we do is we put a vaccine depot, these tumor cells that have now been marked, so that they're directly accessible by those immune cells.
You know, Patricia, everything that you and your husband are doing through Morphogenesis Inc. is absolutely incredible. But I think better directed this question to you, Joseph. How do you get funding for Morphogenesis? I mean, is it private funded, government funded?
I'm glad you asked the question. We've been very, very fortunate. You know, we did receive a few $1 million through different grants and that type of thing, but most of our funding has come from private investors. And they've been extraordinarily, how would you say, supportive of the operations here. And they make all of this possible. I think it's important that we realize that everything in this room is paid for. We don't have any debt in our company. We've put in systems just like what VJ is doing in here. Everything is real time now. It's sent up to the cloud immediately. We can track everything we're doing, how it's being done, what species, what animals. We can trace every pet right down to the day and how it's been treated and what it's been treated with. And I find it remarkable. And again, the private investment has been a great thing for us. And members of this community have been terrific supporters of us, and we truly appreciate it.
The canines that you treat, don't they have a comparable immune system to humans? And why is that so important with immune effects?
Yes, I think that's one of the cornerstones of why we created veterinary oncology services. We see it as a mechanism to help pet parents and their pets, but also because, as you say, canine cancers are very similar to human cancers, and dogs' immune systems are very similar to ours. So the hope is that everything that we've learned in canines and felines and equine will be directly translatable into humans. So one of the big issues for people in investing in small early stage companies is that it's such a high risk. But basically we've de-risked, right, the veterinary completely, and we've de-risked the human because the human first trial is do no harm, and we've seen absolutely no side effects in any of the animals that we've treated.
The problem with the cancer is that the cells of the body that they defend your body, they don't recognize the tumor. And they don't recognize the tumor because it's your same cells. So when you do that, then the cells are really camouflaged in your body, and the problem with that is the cells, the cancer kills you, because they don't recognize, the body does not present defense, gets weaker and weaker, and then suddenly is being affected general, and the person die, or the animal die. With this trick, what they do is they make those cells that they are invasive to the body. They're invading the body. So immediately the cells that defend the body, the mast cells, immediately start to produce in massive amount a defense mechanism. So it's an incredible idea. It's simple, it's extremely wise, and the results that they have is amazing.
We'll be right back to speak with Kelly Nelson and hear more about her remarkable recovery in our Back to Life segment.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
Welcome back to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute.
At the Bonati Spine Institute, all of the procedures are performed here at our 11-acre facility. From your initial consultation and exam to x-rays and MRIs in our on-site imaging center. All surgeries are performed in one of our 3 surgical operating rooms, and recovery is just steps away. This allows a surgeon more access to their patients and allows you to go home the same day. Here's just one of our ordinary patient experiences.
My name is Kelly Judith Lynn Nelson. Today's date is August 15th, 2013. My age is 66, and I have had 2 procedures so far at the Bonati Clinic. And the first one was a little better than 3 weeks ago, and it took away half of the pain that was caused from the cervical area. C5, 6, and 7 were problematic, and the first surgery was on C7 and went in between C6 and 7. That took away half of the pain that would really lock the whole quadrant, left quadrant of my body, top quadrant up, to where it was difficult to do anything, and the only time I was comfortable was when I was lying in bed on ice. That took half away. When I came back, I told Dr. Grossmith, who's done both my surgeries, that I still had sensation running down my arm into my thumb, and that it was sore in the front and in the back. And that matched perfectly C5-6. So yesterday they did the surgery on C5-6, and today the pain is gone. It's really like a miracle. And even after the surgery, the pain is really minimal. They give you pain medication, but truly most people here, unless it's very severe, don't have to take much pain medication either, which I'm really happy with.
So in the case of Kelly Nelson, she is a person who came to us. Her life had been disrupted by her problem in her neck, and that extended into her extremities. And she was a person whose life required her to perform a job. She had a business that she ran, and she was able to come to us. We were able to localize her problem, relieve her of her pain, and allow her to function in her business. And I think that's a major reward as a physician.
I will be coming back, hopefully, if insurance okays it, to have lumbar surgery as well. And then, if we can get it passed through insurance, thoracic. Because I shrunk 7 years ago and I have scoliosis. So not only do I have a curvature of the spine, but now I have shrinkage. And this has caused a great deal of problems with nerve compression. So already the shoulder pain, the back pain, the neck pain is gone. Hallelujah. Now we're moving on to the lower portion of the body, and hopefully that will be taken care of in short order as well.
There's something to be said for experience. And just because you've started to do these procedures, there's something to be said of, well, how about if you've done thousands of procedures as opposed to 100 procedures? Or what is your actual surgery center performing? Is it you do minimally invasive once or twice a week? Or are you doing it every day, day in and day out? Is your facility focused on spine, where you do have the imaging studies there? You do have a clinic that's what you see as a spine patient. You do have the flow with the staff, the patient-centered care flow that's focused on patients with spine and spine mobility problems and spine pain. And so basically it's a very focused and very specialized campus in that respect. And so I'd say that there's something to be said that over those years of what works and what doesn't work, and the continuous improvement in going in that direction, has made the Bonati Spine Institute a leader. And despite what may be said, I know in this day and age you can write things in the internet, you can throw things out there, but the facts are patients come here, they do well, they leave. And so it speaks for itself in that sense, because we have a lot of patients that arrive after telling another patient, hey, I was down there and I got good results. And we see a lot of folks that are referred to us by word of mouth.
All my pain is gone.
Today I am totally pain-free. Nothing. No after effect.
I'm pain-free, and I have had to take any pain medication.
Today I am pain-free for the first time in over a year, and it is so awesome.
I only wish I'd known about it earlier. Right now I am completely without pain.
Sitting here in this office right now, pain-free, eager to enjoy the rest of my life.
I am feeling great.
I feel 100% better, like a new person.
Today I feel absolutely fantastic. It's just incredible, the relief I feel right now.
Today I'm completely pain-free.
During the procedure, I literally felt the pain melt away. It was fantastic.
I feel so good.
It took care of my headaches instantly.
It's incredible. It's really incredible.
It gave me my life back.
It's just wonderful.
I feel fantastic.
It is just absolutely amazing.
So I'm hoping to be climbing hills in a few weeks.
And I just feel awesome. I just feel like I have a new life. And I just cannot thank Bonati and all the people here, everything that they've done and built, and their expertise, and it's wonderful.
It's awesome to now feel like this after being so long with always having to sit a certain way, be a certain way, medicate myself, and sleep a certain way, that you gotta go to back to the old you.
So I'm thankful for Bonati Institute. I'm really thankful.
When we return, we will be joined by Washington Times columnist, Fox News contributor, former member of the President's Council of Bioethics, Dr. Ben Carson, with a clip from our American Medicine Today radio program. We'll also hear from Dr. Bonatti as he shares his passion for medicine and politics, with his views on what he feels is the crisis in American medicine today, also known as Obamacare.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
Welcome back to our final segment of American Medicine Today, featuring Alfred Bonatti, MD.
Welcome back to our final segment on American Medicine Today. We will be listening in on our American Medicine Today radio program that airs on 970 WFLA Saturdays at noon and again at 6 p.m.
I know you have a new book out, One Nation, and it offers a powerful cure to get America back on track. Why don't you talk a little bit more about that?
Well, you know, the reason that I wrote that book is because I want people to recognize that we, the American people, are not each other's enemies. Mm-hmm. The real enemies are those who are trying to divide us up, driving wedges into any little crack they can find to create, you know, war on women, age wars, race wars, income wars, just divide and conquer, all of which is straight out of the manual. Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky, things that need to be done to radically change a society from the kind of society we have to the, quote, utopian, unquote, society in which government is responsible for everything and controls everything. The only problem, of course, for those who are readers, you know that every time that transition has occurred, you get the same scenario. a small group of elitists who control everything and live very luxurious lives, a rapidly shrinking middle class, and an ever-expanding dependent class. There's no exception to that rule. And it's not what America was designed to be. We were designed to be something completely different than that. And, I'm trying to get people to understand that the only way we can keep the freedoms that made us into such an exceptional nation is if we all recognize that we have a responsibility and we have to get into the fight. We can't just go along to get along, because that is what happened in Nazi Germany.
Correct.
I don't believe in what Hitler's doing, but I better not say anything. The Gestapo is going to come and get me.
Right.
We're like that now. We're so afraid to express ourselves or to do anything.
Yes.
And, I just did something that you're not supposed to do. I mentioned the word Nazi. The PC police, they'll be all over you. I said it once in a speech, and they said, Carson says that America is the same as Nazi Germany, which, of course, is not what you're saying at all, but they like to take any word and distort it and try to change it around and try to manipulate people. But it only works with low information people. And that's why I encourage people to learn to read for yourself, not only about American history, read about what neo-Nazis have said about America and understand what we're fighting.
I listened to some speeches of yours on YouTube, and you were so poignant when you talked about being a neurosurgeon and how when you lift away the layers, the inner workings are what make a person, and that's the brain. It has zero to do with skin color.
Exactly. And that's very superficial thinking.
Yes.
And it does irritate me to an extent. You can't tell that I'm irritated, but I am. When people come along and they assume that if you're black, you have to think a certain way.
Correct.
And if you don't think that way, you're crazy or something has happened to you. What a bunch of garbage.
It is.
Every individual that God made, he gave a brain, which means they have the ability to think for themselves. They have the ability to look at facts, to understand history, and to utilize that to create a better way.
There was a quote, and if you don't mind me asking, they had asked you about the Affordable Care Act.
Yes.
And it was quoted as saying the worst thing that has happened in this nation since slavery.
Yes.
And I realize some people get their backs up about that, but I think they are making them slaves to the system. What are your thoughts on that?
But that's a typical trick of the left, is to seize upon a word. He used that word, and, because they don't really want to talk about what I'm really talking about, because they know it's true.
Correct.
That turning over to the government the most important thing you have, your health care, makes you dependent. And that fundamentally changes the power structure in our nation. They don't want to actually get into those issues. So they say, he says it's the same as slavery. This is just... And I explain that quite extensively in the book, the kinds of tricks that are used to keep people at each other's throats so they don't actually think about the real problem and how to solve it.
I think Obama had the chance of a lifetime to unify the parties or to the races and the United States. And what I hear from you is so heartfelt. And I really do believe, I don't know if you've said whether or not you're definitely going to run for president. I know you've been quoted saying if God felt that you should, then you would do that. And I really believe wholeheartedly that you'd be one to unify the races. And for that, I'm thankful.
It's not something that any sane person would want to do, to be honest with you. But I am listening. And I obviously see a lot of people every place I go who think that I should. If somebody comes along who really understands the Constitution, understands freedom and responsibility, and how to get people to rise in our society, understands how to develop our energy resources, our financial resources, knows how to reformulate the tax structure in a fair way, I would get behind that person. But if they don't come, certainly I would have to give it consideration.
Can I ask you one more quick question? We have Dr. Bonatti on the show, and he promotes those same conservative viewpoints. I just wanted to ask you, do you think it's important that surgeons and physicians speak up about the government getting involved in healthcare?
Absolutely. And you know, we tend as physicians to be quiet people. We've learned that. We've learned to put our own concerns on the back burner and put others on the front burner. But the fact of the matter is, if we don't stand up now for the rights of patients and make it very clear that we are not behind a system that takes the most important things and puts it in the government's hands, and come up with our own solutions. And I suggest people go to AmericanLegacyPact.org and look at some really, really good solutions, because we're going to be rolling those things out over the next several weeks. But we have to be the ones who come up with the solutions, not a bunch of bureaucrats.
I agree with you, Dr. Ben Carson, and thank you so much for being on the program. We would love to have you on the TV program as well.
Ben Carson, in his book and in his discussions, he states very clear that the disaster that Obama brought to this country with the Obamacare is probably as bad or worse than the slavery. And you know, slavery is very simple. It's physical and it's mental. The physical slavery, you can break the chains, you can get free. That's what the black population did in this country after years being in that type of a treatment. But the mental slavery is a destruction of the individual and their families, because they become accustomed, and then suddenly they cannot be educated, and then suddenly they feel that that's the way of life. And when that happens, you have generations to correct. I think the viewers, they need to go and take a very good look at the rostrum of individuals that they are going to be selected for the next 2016. They are extremely good people. One of my favorites is Ben Carson.
Thank you for watching American Medicine Today. If you have any comments or questions, please feel free to contact us at the number below. If you're on Twitter, feel free to tweet at Dr. Bonatti or hashtag American Medicine Today. We respect your views and opinions and would like to hear from you.
Thank you for watching American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute. Please look in your local listings for our next regularly scheduled program. To hear more from Dr. Alfred Bonatti and American Medicine Today, tune into News Radio 970 WFLA.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
The preceding program is a paid presentation for American Medicine Today and the Bonati Spine Institute. The information and opinions expressed are solely those of American Medicine Today and are not the opinions of the station, its affiliates, management, or employees.